Yeah, hi. This video today goes out to all the porn addicts out there. Um, to fight a porn addiction, you need to do many things. There are many elements in a therapy. And one of them is realizing why you have certain fantasies. And, um, and I read out something from the Full Avario program, and that is about uncovering and revealing your sexual fantasies. Um, so why do we like to fantasize in general? Because we would like a different reality than the one that we have. Maybe we dream about owning a yacht in the Caribbean, or about having a lot of money, or even never needing to work again. With non-sexual fantasies, the underlying desires are usually obvious. We do not like the weather and want to have sunshine all year through. We are unhappy with how we lead our lives and wish to start from scratch. If we only had enough money to leave everything behind us. We do not like our boss and the colleagues. The stress is just too much, and so on. So what about sexual fantasies? They as well do not come without reasons. They are also underlying unmet desires, but they might not be so easy to recognize as the ones in the non-sexual examples that I gave you. This is because they are fantasies embedded into an addiction. In the very beginning of your addictions, when you were a child or a teenager, your fantasies connected directly to the pain that you tried to kill. Throughout the years, your fantasies have evolved and became more independent. As you know, you need consistently stronger stimuli to reach the necessary neurotransmitter level, and therefore, your fantasies need to become more elaborate. Nonetheless, it is worth looking for clues. In your case, the fantasies originally and even today had the purpose of healing the injuries to your ego. People, action, or places in your fantasies can be symbols for experience that we made and can be symbols for experience that we made and for unfulfilled desires. It is well possible that you want to feel loved and confirmed. Maybe you use the fantasies to experience certain situations from the past again, but this time with a different outcome, with less hurting or less humiliating outcome. Maybe you were a victim and now you are the aggressor. Are you maybe a muscular, strong hero when in the past you were the opposite? In your fantasies, do you maybe have 3 women because back then you didn't have any girlfriends? Do you maybe playfully experience your mother's dominance again by being whipped and exposed in other SM activities? Do you have homosexual fantasies because you miss the lost closeness of the father? Do men humiliate you because your inner child cannot forget the sexual abuse during your childhood and wants to prove again and again how worthless you are still today? Are your fantasies maybe violent because you are still angry with someone from your past and try to process the anger in this way? These are all potential fantasies and explanations for them. Earl and Laser, 2 authors, wrote a lot about sexual fantasies in their book, The Pornography Trap. Very readable book, I can only recommend it. The Pornography Trap by Earl and Laser. And I just want to quote with some minor modifications, something that they wrote in the book. The person in your fantasies might look like the person you have been most neglected by. The person maybe looks or behaves in such a way that you can receive comfort and affection. Maybe she's a magician that can satisfy longing for love. It is possible that the people in your fantasies possess symbolic physical characteristics. A smile could be a symbol for being warm-hearted. Certain colors of hair represent certain characteristics of importance to you. A place can be symbolic for a number of things. Possibly it represents a situation of your past in which you felt protected. It could stand for a place that you imagine gives you comfort. It could be a place that mirrors passion or arousal. On the other hand, it could be that you suffered a lot at this place and this time. At this place and this time the outcome of the story is different, and now you are the one exerting control. Your fantasies can stem from real memories or from made-up situations. Perhaps you fantasize about things that happened to you because they evoked comfort or excitement within you. Maybe you imagine a different outcome. Realize that all sexual activities can symbolize certain characteristics. And these two authors, Earl and Laser, recommend asking the following questions. First of all, who appears in your most common fantasies? What do these people look like? Which other physical characteristics do they have that make them very attractive for you from a romantic or sexual point of view? Second question, how do these people behave? Do they smile or do they look grim? What do their eyes tell you? What do they say? How do they treat you? The third question is, where are your most common fantasies set? What does this environment look like? It is inside or is it outside? And finally, the fourth question they recommend is, what happens in your fantasies? Of what type are the sexual or romantic activities? There's not only one correct interpretation of your fantasies, but reflecting upon them can drag parts of your unconscious, of your iceberg that I talked about in one of the last videos, can drag those parts to the surface. The given ideas for interpretation and questions are only to be a help. Every life and every fantasy is unique. Perhaps you can think about variations of more useful questions for your particular case. The objective of this exercise is not only to make your subconscious visible. I hope that some of your fantasies will lose a part of their attractiveness and of their forbidden character, as now you can associate them with a period of your life or with an experience that you made in your life. Ultimately, this fantasy will not surprise you from the water underneath anymore. Think of the iceberg, as now it's swimming above. Meaning, the more you are conscious about, the more you are aware about why you have these fantasies, the less attractive they seem. Fighting an addiction is a smart thing. It's not about willpower and saying, as of tomorrow, I will not watch porn anymore. That's not how it works, and you probably experienced that 100 of times that you try to get away from it. Fighting an addiction is a smart thing. You need to use things like this. You need to use your subconsciousness. You need to find out why you do certain things. That is a powerful method to get rid of any addiction almost. So use this tip, and I say a little bit more about it. As a child, you only got the attention of your parents, No, there's one thing missing. So an example, if you usually dream of being slapped in the face and insulted by a tall blonde woman, it's just an example of one of the patients we had, you might then realize the following, and in that case it was a slow process. As a child, you only got the attention of your parents and siblings when you were loud and aggressive. You were successful when behaving this way, even if the consequence was abuse. But at least you got attention. Children's logic is different than our logic as adults. In this context, you particularly like to pull your older tall blonde sister's hair, getting on her nerves until she slapped you. It hurt for a second, but it was also cool because she already had breasts and gave you much attention. So the next time that you have fantasies in that direction, if it was in that direction, if you had exactly those fantasies, you will immediately realize the context. And that is true for any fantasy. If you can dig into it and find out the reason why. So this does not mean that these fantasies will immediately disappear, yeah? But at least you will know why you have them. And by winning back control, that's a crucial thing, by winning back control about your behavior, you will also lose part of your negative image about yourself. And this in turn will result in less craving. So what I would suggest now is take a piece of paper and first of all write down your typical fantasies. I know for porn addicts you have hundreds of fantasies and they change constantly, at least many of you. But write down some common ones. There might be a certain common thing to them. Write them down and then start thinking maybe several times. Maybe today you will not have the right ideas, but if you look at them again tomorrow or next week, suddenly, you might get to the root of it. Think of why you might have that, what that tells you. Yeah. Okay, I promise I'll make more videos with more tips and hopefully they help you a bit. Thank you. Bye-bye.